Everyone dreams about living an uncommon life, but how we define that dream is very different for each of us. And for most, it's a lifelong pursuit. Welcome to the Uncommon Life Project podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living that life or enjoying the journey to get there. We're going to also give you some tools, tricks, and tips for starting or accelerating your own efforts to live an uncommon life, a life worth celebrating and savoring. Please welcome your hosts, Brian Dewhurst and Philip Ramsey.
Hello, everybody. This is Philip Ramsey with the Uncommon Life Project and your other host,
Brian Dewhurst,
the one and only. We have such a fun show for you. Molly Rose Speed, near and dear to our hearts. She's going to be near and dear to your hearts. Let's get her on the show. Molly, welcome to the Uncommon Life Project.
Hey, Brian and Phil. I'm really excited to be here. I'm waiting patiently for this moment.
And we have been excited to get you on our show. There is a little background that we need to probably give our listeners. And the first is that we have known Molly Rose for about a year, would you say?
Yeah.
We're all looking at each other like, is that about right? Let's say that.
It's longer.
2 now.
It's almost 2, Brian thinks.
Yeah.
We also want to introduce Lance, which is Molly Rose's husband, which is, I'm pretty sure, a superhero.
Yeah, I like to call him that. Superman speed.
Anytime I get a chance to hang out with Molly Rose and Lance, you do it. But we're so thankful that you took the time. Here's the backstory that we've known her for about a year and a half, maybe even 2. And just recently, she was on another financial advisor's podcast on a strategy that we've done with her and Lance about their personal plan. And she had such a great interview. And Brian and I looked at each other like, why hasn't Molly Rose been on our show? Like, they're talking about the experts, and we're the experts that helped them through this, and she hasn't been on our show. And so we are making it happen right now in 2019. So let's get right into it. Molly Rose, what are you most excited about to tell our listeners today?
I think I'm most excited about being right where I am mentally and financially. Like, I feel like I'm on the cusp of really figuring it out, and I'm at a super young age. And so that looks like almost being debt-free, including my mortgage, having a career that I love, that I created, traveling, and then having a great relationship along the way, that partner that's in it with me.
Mm-hmm. You said super young age. What age is that?
31.
31.
Yeah.
So when we got introduced to you and Lance, it was really fun because you were so willing to be able to be coached on some different strategies that you've never heard of. You maybe have heard bits and pieces of it, but you were so coachable. So not only do you have the mindset that helps you where you're at today, but you also have the mindset of trying things. And so I want to just kind of go down this path of what was your background, and maybe in college we can say, and then what made you start thinking of this uncommon life that you wanted to have for yourself?
Yeah, I think it all started. So I graduated from Iowa State and I had a finance degree. So I kind of was taught the basics of all of this and wanted to go into investment banking at a young age. But I thought, who's going to hire me at 22, female coming out of college? The market sucked, all that. Yeah. So I went a different path and did financial analytics for corporations. I worked for Target, kind of did the corporate route, and I hated it. And I realized life doesn't need to be like this. I don't need 12 days of vacation and 1 day at Christmas. And I said no to that. And I quit cold turkey and I decided to start my own business. So I think that was kind of the first like mental shift into doing things uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
What was that company that you started?
I started being a virtual assistant for somebody, and it just spiraled. It just turned into tons of clients. And now I teach people how to do it.
Okay, let's talk about that. I think there's something to unpack there. When you jumped into the virtual assistant and you jumped out of the common, how long did it take for you to start feeling like, okay, I have a valuable product here? Mm-hmm. And do you feel like you could have done it while you were employed? Does that make sense?
Definitely. Actually, I wish I would have done it when I was employed. I worked, 40 hours a week and I wasn't really doing anything. So imagine if I was reaping that income and then had this side hustle, because you just kind of do blank work sometimes when you're in a cubicle. And so when I quit, it took me about 5 or 6 months to get a good gig, like the first major retainer, a couple $1,000s. And then I was like, whoa, this feels really good. You mean I can earn this money on my own and I can add more clients as much as I wish? And it just started to propel from there. I'd say it probably took me a good year to really get my feet wet and kind of learn and know how to juggle clients and run the business.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just progressed.
Now, were you married at the time?
I quit 2 months before I got married.
Okay. Wow. But you were
Yeah.
dating the superhero. Let's just call him what he is.
I was.
Okay. So
Yeah,
did
we were
that
together.
help your confidence level, or what was his relationship in that? Was he like, you totally need to get out of that place? Or was he like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the poor guy, I would like come home crying. I'd commute 45 minutes to work. I just hated it. I called it cubicle dwelling, soul sucking. All those words came out.
That's a new one. We've heard cubicle of doom. We have not heard what you just said. I like it.
We need to start making t-shirts, I think.
Escape the cubicle dwelling.
Yeah.
And so he was deployed at the time, and he came home, and we got married 5 days after he got home. And I had quit my job, moved home for 2 months to just plan the wedding and eat my parents' food because I didn't want to use
Amen
his.
to that, sister. She's smart.
And then here we were married, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a job.
Here I am.
So that was definitely a cushion, though. People have to really understand that. So I was walking into, health insurance, and he had a stable income, so that was there. But I will say it also did kind of prevent me from going faster because I had this life support.
Interesting.
So there's a good side to both.
Yeah. Do you feel like if you would have had him, you would have done that? Or like, let's say you were just single on your own, crying, doing the whole deal, would you have jumped?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're on the show.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have so much to get to with your interview today. And so one of the things I want to hit on too is not only have you paved this path as a virtual assistant, but now you're paving the path for other people. You are a military wife. There's so much going on in the news, the media about helping our veterans, and it's all amazing. But I think you have a really neat niche that we wanted to help promote today too, is shedding light on what you're doing for other women and other, military wives around the country. So can you share a little bit more with our listeners how you're turning this into?
Before you do that,
path?
I want to just say that the virtual assistant, what I thought that you did such an amazing job is not only did you start getting off the ground for yourself, but you developed the process to be able to teach others your exact steps in order to do it themselves. So, okay, I paved the runway. You can
take off. So probably halfway through my VA career, so about 2.5 years ago, I was constantly getting questions, the same questions from military spouses, mostly. I want to do what you do. How do you do that? Because I was traveling the world, working, making money, doing awesome work for really cool entrepreneurs and small businesses. And the same questions were coming in. And I was like, I can teach this. I can productize this into a course and teach it. So I created the Academy for Virtual Assistants, and we've had moms and military spouses and world travelers go through the program, and they all have jobs. They're all loving what they do. The feedback has been amazing. And it's been a really cool mission, especially on the military spouse side, to be able to offer this to them, because we're all displaced, supporting mostly our husbands' careers. Mostly the females are the ones that are buying the program. And it's been a really cool blessing to be able to give back in this way.
Very cool.
Okay, so we've got the virtual assistants. Not only are you doing this for some cool people, you're now showing other people how to do it for themselves. And how did that, did you start a website? Is that how it took off? How do you promote something like that? Or is it just from basically answering the question that you just keep getting answered or ask?
Yeah.
What do I do? Right?
So I built a website, and I also built a course. So if you have a knowledge that you want to package and sell, instead of going and getting I'm using air quotes here, your brain picked. We always get the email, can I pick your brain, meet for coffee, spend 2 hours of your time. So I put this into
I don't know anything about that. Nothing about that.
Right.
And then if you're Philip, you buy the coffee.
Yeah, you sure do.
Yeah, there you go. And in most cases, something that's okay, but it gets a little, you're helping a friend of a friend. So online platforms now exist like Teachable and Thinkific and Kajabi. Those are just a few of the platforms that are really simple to create courses with. So we put this together, and sold it mostly word of mouth.
Okay.
Little Facebook ads, did some webinars to like lead people to the program.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of a referral web, and we're growing and growing now. So I have the income now to reinvest and do actual advertising. That's the next step.
So I walk through this mainly for me. I'm going to be really honest. So when you're sitting them at the coffee shop and they're like, how do you do what you do? You're like, hey, I have a whole series and a course that you can purchase and it's online.
Yeah. Now I don't even go to the coffee shop. I just send them.
Listen, that's a long ways down the road, Molly Rose, for me. Okay? I'm just trying to figure out what I need to. I'm totally kidding.
But yeah. And it came so freely because I had, had 10 coffee shop meetings, we'll call them, with women, and it's the same thing. So I spent a weekend and mapped it all out and made it all user friendly for them to grab. And adding the secured job at the end of it was like the clincher, because in most cases, the referral's there to match the VA, and it's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. You've created the whole ecosystem.
Yep.
For them to have, cash flow right out of the gate. And so from our standpoint with the 7-source residual income, I think this one kind of falls into the royalty category a little bit. And then are you providing them like ongoing support as part of this package, or is it kind of more?
Nope. It's a pretty comprehensive course. And then I actually just hired a VA for my VA program. And we added, a phone call, an onboard call if they're going to be a part of the referral program.
And when you say VA, you mean virtual assistant, not.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify that.
Yep.
Let's talk about this, because you were having tremendous traction doing some uncommon things. And then we connected and I felt like it's been like wildfire. And I'm totally not trying to promote Brian and I, but the biggest thing that we were, and I want to be really clear on this, is we were just cheerleaders. Like, what can we help?
Pom-poms.
Brian has them. Amazing. But what can we do? How can we restructure your cash flow and your finances in order to in line with your future goals and ideas? And what has happened after that has been wildfire. So let's talk about that. So we meet up, we organize some stuff. We get connected with the superhero, Lance. And it's been so fun after that. So tell us a little bit after the virtual assistants. You've now got the class. Tell us what else you're doing.
And to add to that, what you guys really did for us is made it fun. Like, you turned it into a game, which was, we're still playing. And we sat down the other night, we were like, oh my God, this is so great. Like, the results have been really cool. So that's been really good. So adding to the virtual assistant business and realizing that, okay, there's some cash flow. What else do I have expertise in that I can use? So I started a speaker launchpad business. So as a virtual assistant, my main client has been public speakers. So you could say I've mastered the business side of getting booked to speak. Everything from marketing to your systems. So basically all the speaker has to do is show up and speak. That's the end goal of this program. So that's added a new cash flow into my business as well.
Absolutely. Let's go back. I want to just, for your virtual assistant, if they want more information on that, where do they go?
academyforvirtualassistants.com.
Perfect. Okay. Now you've started this new, I shouldn't even say new, you've added the speaker launchpad. What if they want to know more about that? Because that sounds really exciting to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions and they really like to talk about it. You might as well get paid for it. Go stand up in front of some people.
Yeah.
Where do they go for that?
Speakerlaunchpad.com.
Okay. Nice.
And I think this is huge. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Because this public speaking thing to me is kind of like one of those things that's almost like movie stars or actors. It's like, how do you get into that? And it's such like almost more of an emotional barrier to entry than it is probably like, especially now with your course. I mean, you're helping people go from 0 to 60, but like, to me, this is fascinating. And I think as we, Philip and I we've even started to talk about like, well, we'd like to start speaking, and, we should be clients of your course. But it's like, in terms of building a brand, this is a huge avenue, to not only promote yourself, but also just reach so many more people. And I know Adam Carroll, we had on the show, his TED Talk, I think, is now over 1 million views on YouTube, and 3 million.
3 million.
Wow. So I'm behind. That went fast. That went fast from 1 million to 3 million. And so anyways, this is a really neat topic. And so keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. And what's great about this is unlike the course, this is a do it for you. So a lot of the speaker client, that they might already have their business, they're busy, they're inundated. They don't want to know how to do it. They just want it done. They want the roadmap. They want to be able to push the buttons, show up and go. And so that's really what this does. It sets it all up for you as opposed to teaching you how to do it. So it's really exciting. I'm excited about it. And we're going to add in content coaching with the help of Adam Carroll, people like Adam Carroll and Paul Long, who have both been on your podcasts. So
Crazy how we're all interwoven.
It is.
Let's talk about the uncommon banking and what that has done for where you guys are at, for you and Lance. But the uncommon banking is something that we implemented with you. And that was the reason why you got on this Other Financial Advisors podcast. And in that, it's very interesting to me because she has this really nice intro. And then she has Molly Rose come on and she said something that I'll never forget. She said, if you want to do a strategy that Molly Rose is doing, and she's going to talk about a lot in the show, you need to talk to experts and professionals, because I'm not one of those, but I want to try to do as much as I can to kind of unveil this. And I was thinking, wait, we're the experts and we haven't even talked about this really. So let's talk about it for you and Lance, how the uncommon banking, we can do an overview of it quickly. And then what has it meant for you too?
Yeah. So would you like me to do the overview of what we're doing?
You or Brian? I mean, I could do it too, but I feel like I'm talking too much. So let's do
That's
Brian.
Okay.
Brian and Molly Rose. Give us the overview.
I kind of want to hear Molly Rose do it.
Okay, sure. So the high level of this is to become your own bank. So never do I have to borrow from a banking institution again, will be the goal, paying interest. So we're using a whole life insurance policy to become our cash vehicle for everything that we want to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Am I leaving anything out, Brian?
No, I think the key thing is that when you borrow against that cash position, the insurance company still owes you a dividend. I'll use that word on the entire amount, like it was still there.
Yes, and so this has been crucial to how we're paying down our mortgage. I was sharing with Philip earlier today that our interest bill on our mortgage last summer was like $1,000, close to $1,000. I just looked at it yesterday. It said $230.
Nice.
It was going to interest, $1,000, whatever was going to the principal.
You mean like a month?
A month.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's flipped. Like that's huge because usually in mortgages, it's the biggest number on that statement is interest. And what Molly Rose and Lance have done is they flipped that interest to now $200 a month are going to interest, which is our number one goal, is to get rid of that. Like stop the hemorrhaging to the banks. They're good enough. Let's figure out a different system.
Yes.
You're doing great.
And so we've used the cash value of our whole life policy, moved it into the mortgage where it's lowering that interest. And then the interest, we still pay interest into the whole life policy, but that dividend is really compensating. So it's kind of a wash and it's
doing
working beautifully.
Good. And that's funny because there's times when I'm so thankful you kind of walked through that and you did an amazing job. We've asked our clients okay, what are you going to do exactly? Teach us what you're doing, because I feel like I learn the best when I'm teaching somebody else. And so not only has Molly Rose taught an perfect high level overview of what the strategy is, she did a good job in the other podcast as well. So great job. And so now you're borrowing that out to facilitate different things that you want, you and Lance, to, I would say, knock off some of those financial goals that you have. And it's been fun to watch because Brian and I are really co-pilots in this thing. And I think a lot of other advisors are more like, no, sit in the back of the bus. I'm going to drive you where we want to go. That is not the case. And what we would love to implore everyone is you are your best asset, not a mutual fund, not anything else, right? You are your best asset. And if you can unlock that and unlock that potential, man, I'm telling you, the sky is the limit and you're doing it. So let's talk about Airbnb, because you guys kind of wanted that residual income in, I would say, source of residual income in your plan. So how did you do that?
Yeah. So the property that we bought, it'll be 2 years in April. It's 2 levels and we're about 3 blocks from the beach. I live in Destin, Florida. And we started Airbnb-ing one of our downstairs rooms, which is great because we live upstairs. You barely see them. And full disclosure, our first year renting one room, we made $8,300. Just
that's like
people
a lot
coming and going. Yeah, it's great. And it was
a room you don't really do anything with.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing unless my parents visit. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool. Really excited for this year to do it.
So
again.
you're Airbnb again this year?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, you travel a lot. And obviously when Superhero Lance is on deployment, you travel too. And so it's been the perfect way for you guys to kind of step into real estate because you got to make your mortgage payment anyways.
Yeah, that's right. And we have rented the whole house out before as well. We'll probably do that again this summer.
That's what I was going to ask. How'd that go for you?
It went really well. We kind of became minimalists in this entire process because we wanted to be able to put things in one closet and walk away without any. And so flipping it was just fine. We had great feedback from people, even though we live here. Some Airbnbs aren't set up that way.
Yeah.
You've totally embraced this whole kind of mindset. And I think it's interesting too, because you guys are young, you don't have kids yet. And we have a lot of couples in your situation that are like, I want to do stuff. Like, I don't want to sit in a cube for the next 20 years and give the best years of my life away to somebody else. And you and Lance have embodied that on so many levels. And I think, we meet a lot of people, and the focus in terms of building wealth is like, oh, look at my 401k balance or my investments. And we really don't talk about that with you guys at all because it's just not part of the immediate focus. You have investments, and that, I'm not saying it's not important, but what you've been able to accomplish in just the 2 years that we've been talking to you is amazing. And it's all you guys, you have the work ethic. And I think that's the thing Philip and I say to a lot of people is like, you're crushing it. You were probably crushing it for Target or these other companies. We have such amazing clients that work for these companies, and they're making these companies so much money. And it's like, why do you think you wouldn't be successful if you were doing this for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you guys have flipped that script totally. And it's just so neat to watch. And I want to personally like go through the Speaker Launchpad platform because I think that's definitely an area that Philip and I are excited about.
Yeah, I would too. I think that Speaker Launchpad, I'm just speaking to Brian and I, would be awesome for Brian and I. Like if you got me up on a stage, hot mess. Hot mess. Brian and I feel like we could muddle through some stuff and have something to say.
Great banter.
For sure.
Great banter. Okay, so where are you going in the future? And I just want to caveat with this with saying, my Superhero Lance, we want to get you a plane and we want to do something with that.
Yeah.
So, but where are you thinking you're going? What's the next company? It seems like you got the Midas touch. And I think the best part about it is that you don't have the Midas touch. You have the attitude, if it fails, we'll readjust and we'll regroup and we'll start it again and we'll figure out what we did and you'll learn from that. But anyway, it does seem like from this podcast, you have the Midas touch. And from your past, you do have the Midas touch and you're willing to tweak things enough to change the difference and change the future.
Yeah.
What does your future look like?
I think what's really cool is I don't want to call it a safety net, but I feel like everything we've done with you has given us the room to try other things. So if this doesn't work, we go to this avenue and we're still safe with the things that we have in place. So that's really cool.
Good.
So going forward with that, I think it's sky's the limit on my businesses. I didn't really look at it that way before. I think I just was running this, independent contractor world. And now I'm adding team members and going out and speaking on my own and trying to market and trying to get high volume and tons of clients and helping support people that want to have remote careers. And the same thing for speakers. I think it's just keep going and help as many people as I can is the goal behind it.
Yeah.
And then together it's lots of travel and hopefully a plane.
Love to travel and hopefully a plane. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a really good scalable solution for all this stuff where you're not bogged down. Like you've got a class, a course you can send them to, and you're not sitting there on a coffee shop on a napkin trying to draw all this out. It's already done. It's now just, and the reinvesting, I think, is a huge component of what you do. Getting people paired up with the right virtual assistants, I think, is also a component of this.
Yes.
And so there's multifaceted ways of maybe you don't need to go anywhere except double down and triple down on your business and then watch it pay dividends in the future. So what would you say your best investment is up to this point in all of this?
My best, well, if you want to be specific on financial, you can ask me that, but I would say in myself, I'd say 100%.
Yeah.
And that's something I didn't do when I was working in corporate. And now
it's like they are trying to suffocate you from that. To try to hide you with benefits and all this other stuff and shower you with the golden handcuffs because they know how valuable you truly are. And now you get to show the world. And man, you have been an inspiration to me, to Brian, to everybody that you've come in contact with. I can't encourage you more and get more excited about your future. So thankful that we are on the ride with you.
Me too.
How can our listeners reach out to you specifically if they want to hear more just from you or have any questions?
Yeah. So everywhere in social is Molly Rose Speed. MollyRoseSpeed.com is kind of the catch-all for my businesses.
Good.
And then, of course, you can go straight to academyforvirtualassistants.com or speakerlaunchpad.com.
Love it. All right, Brian, what else do you have for Molly Rose?
I don't know. I love how synergistic the Speaker Launchpad is, because it's almost like, it's almost like a referral system for the virtual assistant. I don't say that in like a manipulative way. It's just like those types of people that like, I'm going to need a virtual assistant. I'm traveling all over the country. I need help. And so that's what I love about it. I think we see a lot of business owners, try to diversify or launch another product, and it's not synergistic with the original brand or just the sweet spot of that individual. And I think that's what's so cool about you, is you're staying true to who you are and what, is kind of in front of you. And they're going to be synergistic in that sense. And so that's why I'm like so excited, because it's like, this is going to really work, and you're going to work it. I think that's the other side of it too, is just, you're a really hard worker, and this hasn't been easy. Like, I think, we're blown through this podcast in less than 30 minutes, and it's easy to say like, oh, I couldn't do that. But you've tried, and I wouldn't say failed, because I don't really think I think we're, as a society, we're too overly attached to that word, but you've tried a lot of things, and it's taken you several years to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun because I think you're really transparent in that, of like, this has been an evolution, but I wouldn't have traded that for anything. Certainly not for health insurance or 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
But you've paid your dues basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's sweet to see that enthusiasm and that all this kind of coming to life in 2019 for you guys because of that hard work and that focus. So I don't know if you want to speak into any of that, but.
No, Brian, I think that's a really great point, because it hasn't been 0 to 60 from the time that I left corporate America. Like, there were a lot of client work that I did that I wasn't passionate about. It didn't fuel me. I was like, why did I take on this project? Or I underbid something, or my hourly rate wasn't what it needed to be, whatever it was. And you just learn and learn and learn, and it just evolves into what it is. So
yeah.
I think I'm happy where I am
learner.
now. I adapt very quickly. I'm like, nope.
You are highly adaptable. That's for sure.
Yes.
That's good.
So, but yeah, I don't have anything else. I mean, I think you guys are just the perfect example of kind of what we're saying. And again, like Philip said, I think we're just cheerleaders and trying to give people that kind of permission with your capital to like invest in yourself. At the core of what we're telling people, I think, on a daily basis, just don't be scared to invest in yourself. It will pay dividends over and over. And even if it doesn't work like you thought it, would work, you're still going to want to be on this journey versus the other side of the fence, at Target and the cubicle of doom. And Philip and I are both ex-Target employees, so we can say that.
Oh, you are?
We
All
are.
of us.
With some,
We don't like to tell that to a lot of people, so you're in the inner circle.
Yeah. And by the way, I still shop at Target, so I'm not hating on Target. But anyways, yeah.
No, well, thank you so much for your time and just investing in yourself. And we really do love to work with you and Lance. So we're excited to hang out with you again. And then let's just keep touching base. Please reach out to us. We are the Uncommon Wealth Partners. My name is Philip.
And I'm Brian Dewars. And if if something struck a chord with you with Molly Rose, or you're a female, or you're in the military, I'm telling you, please reach out to her. She is amazing. And the things that she is putting together, I think, are truly a gift to the business entrepreneurship world. And I can't wait to see what is in store for you for 2019.
Totally. So any more information on us, it's uncommonwealth.com, and we'd love to hear from you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Uncommon Life Project, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.